Hey folks, happy Sunday. Welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time with me, my name is Haley and I'm happy to have you here. I just wanted to do something where I could just kind of have some fun today. This is my divination journal that I have made for myself and have been working in. And just recently I've really been playing with keeping track of what I find some of my perfect pairings to be. So I've just been kind of going through and playing around and seeing what kind of pairings I'm really loving. So I just wanted to share a couple of those and document them here. So I'm gonna get started. I'm just gonna kind of jump right in. I was just about to warn that I know for a fact I will be bumping this camera. So if you want to start the bump count, make a drinking game out of it, have at it. But I'm going to start with my very favorite pairing. These are my two favorite decks, my favorite tarot and my favorite oracle deck. And thank goodness they work beautifully together as a pair. And so I'm going to introduce the oracle first because I usually draw, or I might as well just give you a little insight on how I like to use oracles and tarot together. Most often, if I am doing a reading for myself or for someone else, I always like to pull an oracle deck first, an oracle card, at least one card, sometimes two. But I like to kind of get a general energy, an overall focus, just somewhere that I can kind of trace the message that I get from the tarot back to, like a jumping off point. So I like to start with an oracle, then I use my tarot for the message, and sometimes I circle back and throw another oracle, sometimes from the same deck, or I can show you kind of my go-to for a closer, just a general closing oracle at the end. But so yeah, all that to be said, Sacred Symbols is my favorite oracle deck. I find it to be just the most balanced and direct, and it pairs well with, I could pair this with any of the tarot decks, maybe one I maybe wouldn't, but I can pair this with nearly anything and everything. So Sacred Symbols and then Dream Visions. This is the second edition, and I'm obsessed. It's my soul deck. That kind of makes me cringe when I hear people say and when I say it myself, but if I had to have one tarot deck, it's gonna be Dream Visions. It just is. So let me get these open. We have Sacred Symbols here. I edged mine in this matching red. I love it. I think it just looks really cohesive, and yeah. So those are the backs. And then Dream Visions. I'm sure you've seen. But yeah. Oop. So then we have Dream Visions, and again, this is the second edition. These gorgeous matte blue sides. And I just love too, like I love these matte edges together. But yeah, so this pairing, let's see. Is my favorite. It's my go-to. These are my go-to decks. And again, thank God they just pair so beautifully together. But yeah, I think too, normally I'm a borderless kind of girl, but I think with this art especially, it feels so expansive to me, and it's so colorful that I think having this border around the Sacred Symbols, I think really works. It really kind of, especially with how I use it, I feel like it really holds space for the energy that we're working with. But I mean, oh, these colors together. Oop. But yeah, let me flip these. I'm obsessed. It's my favorite. Dream Visions is just, it's just so beautiful. I love the use of color and the use of black too. Like they really, it just feels so balanced to me. The creator, oh, what's her name? Emma Zong, I think it is. So she's making an Egyptian deck right now. This just a pause on the Egyptian deck. So if you watched my my deck collection walkthrough, oh, there's number 3. If you watch my deck collection walkthrough and I talk about, I think it's my part 2, towards the end, because I saved my 2 favorites for last. It was these 2 decks, but I talk about this card, this shadow card, which I'll just mention it here too, especially with the 8 of Wands and the 9 of Swords here, which the 9 of Swords has been like popping up a lot for me recently, like within the last couple days. I'm getting 9 of Swords out of like every single deck I open. So with the shadow card especially is really, it's just funny, not funny, haha, but yeah, so this shadow card, I opened up the deck when I received it, and I open it up and just do a quick, like, knock it, just do a quick little shuffle, and this shadow card, and then there's a card that says veiled on it. These 2 cards pop like quick out at me, and I was like, oh, like this shadow card, I like it, you know, it definitely feels shadowy. And so I put him back in, whatever, maybe an hour later, I go to do the same thing. And again, the same 2 cards, shadow and veiled, jump out at me. And I was like, okay, it kind of creeped me out a little bit. But I'm like, yes, okay, I know shadow work. I know I need to do it. I've bought all the tools to do it. Like, I have the decks I want to use for it specifically. I have, yeah, anyways. So it's just funny. This card literally shows up at me all the time. All the time this card comes out to play. But again, it's just funny with this 8 of Wands and 9 of Swords. It's just funny the way these cards talk to you. But anyways, I could go on and on about this particular pairing forever. That's not what we're here to do. So it's beautiful though. And those are my 2 favorite decks. So Dream Visions Tarot and Sacred Symbols Oracle. So this next pairing, both of these are pretty new to my collection. One I ordered in December, and I got it, just maybe a week or 2 ago. And I only cleansed, I did like a mass cleansing. I started it last night, and I'm going to finish it up with the new moon tonight. But it included both of these decks. So these are both new to my practice, but I see the value in them very quickly. So my Oracle deck is Earth Magic. This is definitely not a new deck. It's not even, like, I bought this used actually from Amazon. So it's pre-loved. But Earth Magic Oracle and the Tarot of Oneness. Yeah, I'm sure if you're at all involved in the tarot community, you have seen this deck, especially recently. It's amazing. A very fast favorite. And then Earth Magic, I think, is a classic. So let me pull these babies out. Okay. Earth Magic. These are the backs. I think it's really beautiful. I love that you get like this tree and then this reflection of the tree. It definitely feels shadowier. I think it's just a really great card back there. And I'll just give it a little freshen up. And then Tarot of Oneness. Just stunning deck. And these are the these are the backs. And these really pretty like matte peach sides. I love a matte edge. I think it's really nice and not sharp like a lot of those gilded edges are. But okay. So what I really like about this pairing is I feel like, first of all, like there's only a handful of cards that have like people on them in this deck. And so I feel like in the way that Tarot of Oneness, which what's so special about Tarot of Oneness is the perspective that it's in. It's this like first person perspective where like, and for instance, this Four of Wands here, it's this card of celebration, right? Joy and just being in a place where you can really celebrate the joys of life. And it's like you are this person at Holi, which is the color, like a color festival in India. But it's like you are this person extending your arm, looking at those the colorful pigments like falling on your skin and being in that moment. And this card is fantastic for that, or this deck is fantastic for that. And so what I really like about Earth Magic, I feel like it really, I say there's not a lot of people and then pull all these people, but I feel like it really sets you in the moment and holds this really grounded space and grounded energy. And it really just puts you in this moment, right? And then with the Tarot of Oneness, you get that same exact energy of I'm in this space. I am holding space for purification. And then how do you literally embody and tap into that with the Tarot of Oneness? I think it's just really beautiful. I think the colors play really nicely together. Yeah, it's just a really great little pair. Again, I haven't really worked with either of these decks that much. Before I did like my mass. Oops. Okay, sorry about that. I got a low battery message. Set back up. This is not a professional set, y'all, so this is just how I find and where I find my joy is geeking out about the tarot. Okay, that's close enough. But yeah, I haven't used them quite a bit because I just didn't feel super connected to their energies yet. Maybe it's because I literally had like 20 decks that really needed to be like set up for success, at least how I like to do it. But yeah, already like I've pulled from them just a little bit today after starting my cleansing process last night, and I already feel way more in touch with them. So that is Earth Magic and Tarot of Oneness. And then next, so this next, no, I'll save that one for last. This next one deck was from my mom for Christmas, and that is this Inner Child and Beyond. I love this deck. I never see this deck getting talked about, so I'm happy to show it here. And then another deck that I don't see talked about very often, but became a really fast favorite, is the Emma Poetica Tarot. My husband got this for me for Valentine's Day. And it's just beautiful. It's a really sweet, beautiful little deck. And I was looking for something that I could specifically pair with this Inner Child and Beyond deck, because I got this in December, and I just didn't have anything that I really loved with it. And for Inner Child work, it's a focus of mine this year, Inner Child work. And that goes hand in hand with, some shadow work, and then divine energy work, or divine feminine energy work is on my to-do list, top priority this year. And so I got this, and I really wanted to be able to hold space for this deck. And I wanted and needed a tarot deck that I felt really did that. So I didn't really even get this deck with this deck in mind. But when I got it and got my hands on it, the Emma Poetica just let me know pretty quickly that it was going to be the perfect pair for the Inner Child and Beyond. And yeah, I couldn't agree. Really couldn't agree more. So I love Inner Child and Beyond. I looked at a lot of different Inner Child decks before landing on this one. Again, I just didn't see this coming up very often. And so I just didn't have a lot of exposure to it. But once I saw it, I just knew, like, oh, this is the Inner Child deck for me. I feel like these colors and this art style really speaks to my inner child in a pretty profound way. And what are you doing? This whole deck should be upright. Okay. And then the Emma Poetica, I think, is just so cute and sweet. Yeah, it's a fast favorite as well. It is a French deck. So I think it's a French deck. So you don't get a guidebook with this. You get like these little keyword cards. And then on the back, they're in French. Which a lot of these, I mean, it's Rider-Waite Smith, like stylized, but a lot of these are super, really super intuitive, I feel like. So it's great, it's fine to work with. But there are just like a handful of ones where I would just like some insight on what the artist is going for, But yeah, the keywords that are mentioned in this Inner Child deck, I think are just fantastic. And the colors and art is so inviting. I love this deck, and I really like it as a pairing. But okay, now for my last little bundle here. So this deck, I'm actually going to show it with two. It's one tarot deck, and I'm going to show it with two different oracles. That's because I'm just pretty much obsessed with this tarot deck. Like, truly, very much in love with. And I'll go ahead and introduce that. That is Le Tarot à Remoi Étranges. Do not try and pronounce that from my pronunciation. But I guess it's a loose translation of Tarot of the Strange Branches or Antlers. And yeah, this deck is amazing. It comes with this little bag also. This is another French deck, of course, but you can probably tell by the title. But it comes with a really great little guidebook, and I've just been using my Google Lens app to just snap a picture if I need to of the guidebook page, and it's like an instant translation. So has not been an issue, but I have not even hardly needed. There was literally one card when I went through it. I was like, I'm not immediately picking up what you're putting down. The art is just so intuitive to me. I love the backs. Trying to figure out what color I want to edge it in. Maybe like this green, but I don't know. But yeah, this deck. So I'm gonna first pair it with the Herbal Astrology Oracle. And this is gorgeous also. And here are the backs. Really pretty. Little like nature mandala almost. And I think it's pretty obvious just how beautifully these go together. I think it's like the muted color tones, but very natural scenery. And yeah, I think this is just beautiful together. This one makes me really excited. Especially because, again, like this tarot deck became very fast favorite for me. And when I got Herbal Astrology, I saw it being something that I would really instantly connect with. And I feel like I did, like I was just equally obsessed with it once I got it in my hands. But I didn't have a tarot deck that I felt spoke to it. And so, yeah, this one was a really exciting pair find for me. Because I feel like I'm just going to get so much more use out of the Herbal Astrologies. And I'll definitely be getting lots of use out of the Strange Branches Tarot. But yes, I think that's just such a perfect and beautiful pairing. And then I'm going to show you with one other deck here. And that is the Woodland Wardens. Now, I've had this deck. This was one of my first like 10 decks probably. So I've had this one for a while. I never reached for it, and it's because they had these cards before I literally trimmed them yesterday. They had these huge, massive borders around the back. I mean, it was the same color as like this background, but it was just like this bare, dark green border. And then this artwork had this huge white border around it, and it took me all the way out of reading with this deck. So just yesterday, I had ordered and received like a guillotine paper cutter and a corner rounder, and spent a good hour or so trimming this deck up, but just freeing up this stunning artwork. Yeah, I will be reaching for this often now. But I really like it with this deck also. And again, I think it's like the color tones really work together. You stay there. But what, like the energy that I pick up from it is, because this is such a, I have it, of course, while I have the moon up here, but this is such like a wild, like primal, natural energy to me. And I feel like it just feels like you're out in the woods, out in this forest with these characters. And so I see this deck as like an animal, like spirit messenger that you run into, like you're trotting around the forest, and then you run into this little ladybug near this well, and while you're filling your cup, you know, like I just pick up so much of a storyline using this. And yeah, I just kind of see this as like a messenger, like a little earthly animal messenger. And I feel like it's a really powerful pair here. And I love the backs together too. I think that's just beautiful. But yeah, this is a fast favorite for pairing as well. Let's see, I feel like there's one more I want to bring out. But yeah, so Tarot of Strange Branches and the Woodland Wardens. Let me see. My channel is super casual, you guys. We just kind of go with the flow. So I'm just going to bring out my handy dandy notebook. I'm going to pick like one more pair to share. Get those. Let's see. I feel like these are both Emma Poetica, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do this one. So both of these decks are super easy to get your hands on. Both are mass market, and that is the Prism Oracle and the Tarot of the Curious Creatures. Oh. Okay, so pretty much both of these decks, they actually have a kind of a similar story. I'll tell you while I'm pulling it out. But so the Prism Oracle, first of all, I used to just hate seeing these backs. I really couldn't tell you what it is because I love color. Like, I love colors, and there was just something about this deck. I would see people read with it. I would see people talk about it. And I'm like, oh, just stop talking about this deck. I just couldn't stand it. Look at these like gold hollow edges. Really fun. But yeah, so it's just one of those decks, you know, I'm just not drawn to. And I decided, well, I'll give it a go. I think it was like on sale. Like, I'm gonna get it, and if I don't like it, I can give it to a friend or I can return it. And I ended up really enjoying working with it. My like introduction spread was just so funny and sweet and really bonded me with that deck pretty quickly. So I had a very similar story with Tarot of Curious Creatures. I hated this deck, you guys. Which is funny, because, okay, so I think I've talked about that here, too. With this deck, which is the same creator, the Light Seers and the Tarot of Curious Creatures, it's like if I had to pick my ick decks that I just could not stand, it was both of these decks. The Light Seers Tarot and the Tarot of Curious Creatures. Oh, the way that I despise these decks is like ridiculous, actually. But both of them separately, first the Light Seers, I was like, okay, kind of similar, I'm gonna give it a go. I think I saw recently where they're like, if there's a deck or a card that is just like especially like a turn off or triggering or like irritating you for whatever reason, even if you can't put your finger on it, there might just be like, that might be the exact message or the exact image you need to see to receive the message that you need in that moment, or in that time period. So after seeing that, I was like, okay, I really don't like these decks, so I'm gonna give it a try. Started with the Light Seers, got it in my hands, fell in love. Instantly understood the hype. That became like my number 2 deck. Honestly, right under the Dream Visions. Like, I love that deck. So after that, I was looking for, before I found the Emma Poetica, and figured out it worked so well with my Inner Child deck, I was looking for an Inner Child deck. And I've always loved animals, and I've always loved these colors. And so I was like, okay, let me get the Tarot of Curious Creatures and just see, because I've seen so many people say that they just couldn't stand this deck also until they got their hands on it. And oops, until they got their hands on it and just, it makes sense, you know. So this is the Tarot of Curious Creatures. Whoop. I just finished edging in this perfect match of a like light purple, and it's a metallic. It did kind of go over the edges a little bit, but whatever. But I love it. So this I see as another really great like general reader. Just another general reading pair here. But it just feels really like approachable, and it feels really soft, and the glare on these sucks, whatever. Stop. Two of Cups in the Tower. It's funny. But yeah, these two decks, they just are really great together. I like when you have like a deck like this with like one color. It makes you like look for this color in the card. Oh, that's what it makes me do. I'm like, it just tracks my eye to wherever that color may be. Like Anger with this Four of Pentacles, and she's sitting on this red suitcase. So it makes me think like, oh, she is like boxing up and building up her anger and sitting on it, because at least it's safe. It's safer knowing where her anger is stored and put away than expressing it and sharing it, and unlocking this. And then, yeah, King of Wands, I mean, that's a ton of red. It's like, yeah, well, we're not doing readings, but anyways, I just like to kind of find it in the deck and kind of see where else that might lead, you know, my intuition. But just another really sweet, little fun, playful, gentle pair here with the Prism Oracle and Tarot of Curious Creatures. But yeah. Well, this was fun. I really enjoy, again, working with Tarot and Oracle as pairs. And I know, you know, not everyone needs to have like an aesthetic pairing. But for me, it's just been a really nice way to expand and understand and deepen my intuition. So yeah, you do you, of course, but let me know in the comments if you have a favorite pairing, especially if it's a deck that I showcased here today. I'd love to know what some of your favorite pairs are. All right, y'all. Thanks again. See you next time.